Well, hello, country music cruise friends and fans. I am Lori Ann Crook, just so thrilled for the past 7 years, since this whole thing began with the country music cruise, to be your cruise host. And as you know, as we meet each other on the dock and on the ship and on the islands, we talk every single year. How does Star Vista Live keep this so exciting, so fresh? You're looking at one of the reasons. Legendary stars, surprises all day long. Neal McCoy. Wait a minute. I have an actual introduction for you, if I may, that I
Oh,
may
yes,
have
you may.
gone down.
Yes, ma'am.
Three-time Entertainer of the Year,
Oh my God.
awarded humanitarian, American patriot,
Oh my
and
gosh.
basically country music wild man, Neal McCoy. How
I
about
thought,
that?
I thought you were introducing Toby Keith.
No, it's you. Okay, so tell me, what was it like when you first heard that you would be a part of the Country Music Cruise 2022?
We were excited. We had been on another cruise line that pales in comparison. But I knew about this one that y'all been doing for probably for the last 6 or 7 years. I think we had even been invited before, but again we were locked in that other thing and couldn't make it. So this other we haven't been on the other one because of COVID, just like everybody else.
Right,
Uh,
yeah.
but we didn't have anything booked. So when your folks reached out to us, I said, "Oh my gosh, I hope we can do this," because always love y'all's lineup
Oh,
because you have people there with age. You know what I'm saying? And I like being with people with age because the young people don't get all my jokes. They don't. I just joke about old stuff and they don't ever get it.
yeah, this just seems like the perfect venue for you because
Yes, ma'am.
as I just mentioned, we all sort of live together for a week and we're, eating together, we see each other by the pool, and just
Right.
the stages are so close. This must be a real treat for you because you are so, and you always have been. I've known you for 30 years. You have
Yeah.
been so close to your fans more than anybody else I know.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and I do try to be available, and I will on the cruise. I think it's why we've always had a pretty good reputation on cruise ships because I'm not one to just hold up in the room. You're going to see me. I heard all those places. You said that we'll run into you on the docks and on the cruise and at the islands, and you'll probably run into me also there because that's just we don't hide. Now in that, Lori, and it makes it a little more of a challenge for my wife because you have people on these things, a lot of country music fans, and they're always trying to get autographs and pictures. But
Sure.
Melinda knows we've been married over 40 years, so she knows that I'm just going to stop and do it and take all the time. So she just runs off.
Yeah, well, listen, it's a big fan party all week long. It really is.
Yeah.
And it's also a friend party. The thing that all of us love, I mean, me included, because I am a fan from the ground up for decades. What I love about the Country Music Cruise is that nearly any stage that we go to watch a performance,
Right.
artists such as yourself, I mean, you've been friends with all the other artists for years, and
That's
everybody jamming with everybody else. I don't know if you know the whole lineup, but Sawyer Brown and Mickey Gilley, Johnny
Fred,
Lee
Fred,
Greenwood. So
Fred.
who are you looking forward to jamming with that maybe you haven't seen in a while?
Well, as close as you get to be, you're only close when you're around each other. So I don't see many shows
Huh?
of other people's. So I'm excited. I'm going to be sitting if they could get an extra seat in a balcony or on over in a corner or something, and just at the monitor board. I'm excited to watch all these guys because I like learning stuff. I like actually, Lorianne, I like stealing stuff that works. See,
Well,
because I see enough entertainers that they do some stuff that doesn't work. I don't steal that. I just steal the stuff that works and put it in my show.
that fascinates me that you just said that you're still learning because everybody knows you as the consummate entertainer. I mean, when other stars have parties or they get married or whatever, they ask
Or
you to come
whatever.
perform. Divorce parties. I don't.
Yeah. Well, just about everyone we performed at has ended in divorce. So you don't want me performing at any wedding stuff.
I will not have you performing at my renewal of vows at this
That's
point.
right. Don't do it. Not unless you're trying to get out.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, I would love to see you jamming on stage, maybe with Sawyer Brown or Mark Chesnutt or somebody. That would be so much fun. In fact, I'm just remembering, Neal, the last time we worked together. It was one of the CMA Music Fests, river stages down there. It was, oh my gosh, it was so hot that day. And
Always is.
still, you were climbing the lighting grids and pouring ice water, shooting ice water out all over the fans. So, I mean, you have not let up one bit with your onstage energy. That's just who you are, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. It's who I am, and hopefully I'll continue to be. You know, and as you get a little older, it's probably a little more work. But you know, the thing is, when we go play in the summertime, at least there are a lot of country music festivals. And the thing I put in front of me is when that 3 or 4 day music festival is over, and they're going to have much bigger acts than me. Or it won't be much of attendance at the music festival. But my goal is to, when that's over, for the people on Monday and Tuesday say, "Oh, did you see so and so?" "Yeah, I did. But did you catch the Neal McCoy show?" I always try to do something memorable, whether it's just telling jokes or moving a little or just trying to win them over with personality. I always want them to remember me. And because of that, we hadn't had hits in a lot of years. We still have a great, loyal support out there of people that come to see us, and I appreciate it.
Okay, so do you not want to know what I've been jamming to for a couple of years now?
Uh-oh. Ah, that's the greatest album ever.
Oh my
Or
gosh.
at least of
This is,
mine.
this is the You Don't Know Me album, that the big band crooner. Neal McCoy, you amaze me because as I mentioned, you can get on stage at any country music festival or on this cruise as you're about to do in January 2022 and just, rip it up like a honky tonk like we expect. And then you can put on a suit and a top hat. And you have the most beautiful voice, and I hope I'm embarrassing you, but might we hear one of these big band classics on the cruise?
You certainly might. I don't doubt that you won't. I love that music,
Uh,
and you know me. You've known I've loved that music forever, and
mhm.
to finally have the opportunity to cut that album was it was a check off the bucket list. And what I wanted to do, Lorianne, was I wanted to make sure that I recorded while I could still sing. And in that, there's so much more to singing. I mean, you got to be in good voice. That helps, but just in that interpretation of that music, it's just delivering and phrasing and I mean, because those lyrics, a lot of those lyrics in there. Now, there's some fun stuff in there, but as a rule, they're either love songs or missing somebody songs, and you have to understand. You have to put yourself. It's like an actor, I guess, would assume when they sink themselves into a role, you have to put yourself into that lyric and then hear what the song's saying. And I just love it. It's a real challenge, and I just wanted to make sure I had that on recording before I kicked the bucket. Not that I plan on going anywhere.
Listen, I'm telling you, one of my favorite albums of all time. I play it all the time here at the house.
Uh,
But hey, you mentioned something interesting about being in shape and so forth. As we all look forward to a cruise, all of us want to get in a little better shape for the shorts and the bathing suits and all of that. As long as I have known you, Mr. Neal McCoy, you have been fit, you have looked strong, and you have energy. So, what is it you're doing in your day to day life that just keeps you looking so good?
well, I take a Viagra every day.
Okay, so what is Melinda's number?
I'm just going to see how your editing process was to see if y'all can get that out of there. You know,
Real quick.
I work out every day, and most of the time, twice a day.
Really?
I don't ever miss a day. And it's because it's not like I'm trying to be a bodybuilder or anything. Again, I take it as a challenge to every night I go on stage or every day I go on stage, I want to be as good as I can be. And if you're not in good mental health and physical shape, you're not going to be as good as you can be. So I do that. But I don't look like Adonis or anything. I work hard to keep my girlish figure so I can still wear the old Wranglers and stack them and still be able to pull it off. I don't have Wranglers on there.
Yeah, I've watched you from behind wearing those Wranglers. We like it. I speak for all the girls out there. But hey, listen, you were telling me that you literally just before we started talking here, you were outside on a tractor. What you been doing?
Yeah, I've been cutting all morning, brush hogging all day. I got a new tractor stand. I got a bat wing, which is a 15-foot span. I just had a brush hog was 8 foot, but It's a
Wow.
15-foot cut. And with all the rain, we've got a ton of rain down here. All this stuff and the weeds and everything are growing pretty quick. So I'm just trying to keep them knocked down. The shorter you can keep the weeds, the grass has a chance to take them over. So I'm just trying to keep it knocked down. So that's where I'm going as soon as I leave you. I'm going back to track.
Okay, going back out. So is that what you have been doing mostly during this past year with the pandemic? I mean, as we talk to our friends in the business, we're all asking each other, how have you been keeping busy? Now, you've still been performing some here and there, right?
Yes, ma'am. We're starting to get a few dates in. We got a lot in from now on. We're booked up quite a bit the rest of the year.
The
But
end of the year, yeah.
there were a couple in there where people said, "Hey, we're open. If you would like to come here, And I think some of the reason that some of these people weren't working, Lori, is because they were scared to go do it. The artists were scared, and I get that. But
Yeah.
but my wife and I had COVID in July. We didn't go get it tested, but we knew we had it, and then we got tested for antibodies 4 months out. I had a lot of antibodies, and then we still got both vaccinations. So we're
Yeah.
Teflon right now. We can't.
Hey, there you go. You always have been Teflon.
That's
So have you spent most of the time just working outside, working on the house? You got grandkids too, right?
that takes a lot of time, but but that's the fun time. I bought this ranch right before COVID hit. So in that, I say I bought it. I was able to make a down payment and figure out the payments. But so I bought it. The bad part was that right before COVID hit, I bought a ranch. I was thinking, what in the you going? I know timing couldn't have been any worse from a financial standpoint, but from a physical and mental standpoint, it was great because I'd go out there every day and mess with horses or feed cows and just do stuff. So it was my sanity.
Man, you remind me of Mr. Garth Brooks. Garth Brooks has
Oh
all the,
yeah,
he has big boy toys like you do. And
right.
Tricia tells us that he's always outside, like digging up trees,
Yeah.
moving stones and building little bridges across the property. Are you sort of like crazy like that, getting out there and just wanting to move the earth?
I do a little bit of that, yes, ma'am. Except Garth probably on his budget he probably wins the toy challenge because he's probably got bigger toys. I just have a tractor, whereas he probably got a track hoe and a bulldozer, and he moves a lot. So I just kind of move stuff around just to be moving stuff.
Well, and it's interesting because I talked to him about it, and I guess this is kind of like the George Jones thing. George Jones said the same thing about just mowing grass,
Yeah.
that, especially when you're an entertainer and there's just a lot going on, and people like even me calling you up to do this. I mean, everybody wants a little piece of your time. That just being outside on just a big piece of equipment, there's just something about it that helps your peace of mind, your creativity to do even better on stage. Is that how it is with you?
Yes, ma'am. It is exactly that. It's therapy. It's a form of therapy because I would say it's a place you can get away from your phone, but you can't, or I guess you could. I don't because between Les Martinez, my road manager, and I, we manage me. So I gotta, you gotta field all these calls, but it's just therapy. You get out there and clear your mind. And like today, I'm trying to learn Michael Jackson's "I'll Be There" because it's one of my favorite songs that I've sang since I was 10. We're the same age, but I never committed all the lyric to memory. So I'm riding that tractor today trying to commit. You and I must make a pact. We must bring salvation back. Where there is love, I'll be there. And I'm trying to commit all the words. So, because once I get it learned, then I'm going to get the band learned and we'll start doing it on stage.
Man, that is fantastic. Listen, I just cannot wait to see you aboard the cruise. I want to bring something up that I hope is not too sad. But a couple of years ago, Mr. Charlie Pride was a guest. Yes, he was one of our guest superstars on the cruise. And we got to do a big interview with him in front of the crowd. But here's what happened. I ended up sending him to the dentist. We had these big, beautiful metal microphones. And so we were talking and he was telling some story about something, and he got so excited that he hit his mouth on the microphone, and it chipped his tooth. So yeah, Rosine had to take him to the dentist after we got off the ship. But it was so much fun. And the reason I bring that up is because I know what close friends that you and Pride were all these years, how he was such a mentor to you all of your life. Give me your favorite memory. That chipped tooth thing is just my favorite memory, recent memory of Charlie Pride. You must have a million of them.
I do, and I'll give you still what I think is the most impressive memory of him to me, because he was brilliant. You know, it was crazy because he brilliant at some things, yet not as brilliant at others. And he was you can read his book, you know, manic depressant, ADD, everything. He had a lot of stuff going on, but he had quite a memory. And you know, I'm preaching the choir. He probably knew what sign you were, and if he were alive today, when you walked in, he would say Sagittarius, or he'd say your sign before he even said your name, because he remembered that. And but the one thing that impressed me, I was out with him in the probably mid to late 80s. I'd been out with him since 82, working shows off and on the weekends with him, and going out and opening shows when he needed an opening act. And I never forget, I think we were playing, seemed like in Canada, up north somewhere, and we were in the catering room, you know, just for guests and artists and stuff. And we were sitting there, the band and I and Charlie, and just sitting there eating, and there's another guy that sat probably a table or two over and was just sitting there. And Charlie, the funny thing about him, he used to eat like it was his last meal. And he didn't, it was like a coyote, because he would hunker around it, and then he kind of looked as he ate, and he just ate so fast. Yeah, it just made me tired watching him eat, and full. So all I really had to do was watch him eat. I didn't even have to eat. But he sat there and he'd eating like that. And this guy, Charlie, just finished eating, or finished chewing about it. And the guy walks over and he says, Mr. Pride, and Charlie's, he never really looks at him. He just kind of goes, yeah, you know. And he said, I don't want to interrupt your dinner, but he said, I think I owe you an apology. Charlie, he said, you don't know me. He said, you don't know me, but I owe you an apology. And Charlie, he looked up for me just like that and looked back down. He said, no, I know you. And the guy said, no, sir, you don't know me, Mr. Pride. He said, but a couple of years ago, and Charlie said, no, I know you. And he said, a couple of years ago, you played a show, and he said, you told us from this, it was a fair or something, but you told us from the stage. He said, now, as soon as I leave, I've got to go, because I've got to get to somewhere. And he said, yep, that's right, I did, because I had to get somewhere. He said, so I remember, he said, when I walked down the stage, I was getting in the car, and I looked over at you, and you gave me a thumbs down. He told that guy, he said, and that guy said, yes, sir, that's right. He said, I would have never thought you remembered that. He said, no, I'll never forget you. He said, I remember, because I thought I had a good show, put on a good show, and I was getting in the car, and I turned around and looked at you, and you gave me a thumbs down. And that guy was just floored, and I was floored, and the band was floored. But it hurt him so much, because he felt good, and he was telling the truth. He had to go somewhere, and that guy didn't believe him. And that guy ended up saying, yes, sir, Mr. Pride, you're right. I did. And I am so sorry, because I found out you did have to get somewhere. And I thought you were just trying to not be able to make any time for your fans. And it had stuck in his mind that 2 years later, after all the shows he does and all the people he sees, he saw that guy and knew where he remembered him from.
Yeah, no, he was that kind of guy. He knew everything and could remember everything. And I'll tell you this real quickly about Pride, is that over the years with different things that we did, you know, I had female producers with me on occasion, and every now and then they were pregnant, you know, going to have a baby soon. Every single time, Pride he would ask permission. He would say, may I? And he would put his hand on their stomach and tell them if they were going to have a boy or a girl. He was right every single time. It was spooky. He was right every single time.
Hey, I'm going to hold a picture up. Les Martinez is sitting here. He just pulled this picture up on his phone. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, I can. Yes.
It's me and you and Charlie.
Oh my gosh. From what year?
What was that from? He said that was from 07.
That is unbelievable. Okay, but now, okay, Neal, you got to tell me something, because we had a joke going, a running joke.
Oh, God.
For whatever reason, in the late 80s and early 90s,
yes, ma'am,
when we had all these TV shows going, you were on all of our shows. And I don't know if you remember this, but we had put this whole retrospective together. And in every single shot from every single show, you had on this pink shirt, and you had not realized you had worn the same shirt.
Obviously, it was one of my favorites.
said, I'm going to find that shirt and I'm going to burn it. Did you ever look? I loved that pink shirt, and I
good, but that's the only reason I wore it. It was for you.
Thank you so
I knew
much.
that.
I don't know if you ever found it, but I thought that was the cutest thing. You were like, why was I wearing that shirt?
I always wore it because I felt I was tough enough to wear it.
You were, listen, I'm telling you, only real men can wear.
That's right. You're exactly right.
So, sir, do you have your cruise wear together? I hope, because it's just a few months from now.
Yeah, I know. We'll be there before you know it. It never takes long to get cruise wear. It does. It's supposed to take longer than it does because you're supposed to think about it more. But I promise you, for the last probably and this is going to be terrible after you talk about the same pink shirt I wore. I wear the same pair of shorts, same 3 or 4 pair of shorts every time I go on a cruise or on some type of vacation that's going to be out by a beach. I just take the same shorts. So you'll probably see me in shorts you've seen me in before.
Okay, that's a smart thing. You will not believe this, or maybe you will.
Okay.
Last year, Linda Davis and her husband, the Scott family, they were on the cruise. And so Lang, Linda's husband, as we were all, kind of getting on the ship to get settled, he was just sweating and he could hardly breathe. We're like, Lang, what is wrong? He said, I have just hauled in Linda's luggage. And he said that 2 entire huge suitcases were just shoes. Just shoes.
She didn't know what she wanted to wear.
So I kind of understand just the 3 pairs of shorts and just have a good time.
Yeah, that's right. If all else fails, put on the Neal McCoy shirt. No, I don't do that.
Oh, hey, that's what we'll do. And hey, one thing that you need to know, and you probably know it already.
Okay.
Our country music cruise friends and family are all about God, family, and country. Good. And you have been doing the Pledge of Allegiance for, over 1,500 days now. You're going to reach 2,000 when? Sometime this summer?
Actually, I'm coming up. I've done it this morning for the 1,952nd. I'll reach 2,000 in June the 29th. It'll be 2,000 days in a row without missing.
Oh my gosh.
And that may be, but y'all may not air this until after it's already been on, but my 2,000 is June 29th.
That is amazing. I know what it does for all of us who join you for that, and all of the people who are lucky enough to be there with you when you do that. What does this do for you?
It has made me accountable because I started it just on a whim, just something to do. Obviously, 5.5 years ago, when Donald Trump was one of 11, 12 Republicans running, there were 4 or 5 Democrats, and I could tell all the stuff that was being thrown already. And I said, the one thing that my mom had taught me, because she's from the Philippines, she always taught us kids that you live in the greatest country on earth, whether you know it or not. And someday it'll come to you, and you will know it. And so when I saw all that going back and forth, I thought, you know what? Here are people that are going to try and run for Republican, for Democrat, and then they're going to run against each other. And I said, they're already bitter at each other. I said, so the one thing I can do, and I'm just going to go write the Pledge of Allegiance on my Facebook page and just see what happens. So I wrote it, and other people, I didn't say anything. I just wrote the Pledge of Allegiance, and people started writing back to me, and then Facebook Live came in and started doing it live, and then a lot of folks now will say, I watch it every day I can. Sometimes I can't make it, but the thing is, to me, I always know that you're going to be there, even if I'm not going to be there. So that made me think, you know what? If they're thinking that they can just join me at any time because they're counting on me, I guess I need to be there. So now, 5.5 years every day is something. I don't even go to the bathroom every day for 5.5 years straight. I don't think. I mean, I know I've missed days, but so everybody said, oh, you go, that's one thing you think, wait, and I've missed days of eating. So other than pooping and eating, I think maybe the Pledge of Allegiance is the only thing I know that I'm going to do. The other stuff, maybe not. I knew that album came in handy for something.
That just took a little bit of a left turn, but I think you made the point, Neal.
Good. Well, I hope there's a point in that. That sounds like a Charlie Pride story. It sounds like some way he would tell it, to where he'd just go circle, circle, circle. Okay, are we back?
But see, this is why we love you. You are so unexpected. And this is what we are looking forward to on the Country Music Cruise 2022. Now, I'm hoping that we can join you for the Pledge of Allegiance on board because we will all be there. And I'm also thinking about maybe asking the stage crew to install a rope so you can swing out into the audience.
Please don't. Not that I still couldn't. But just for insurance purposes, I better not.
Oh my gosh. Well, sir, we are going to have just the best time. We are thrilled that you are joining the all-star lineup, and just nobody more entertaining or more fun than you. And we just cannot wait to have a blast with you.
Well, thank you. I always look forward to seeing you and know that we're going to spend a week together. That's something that will cheer me up until we get there.
There you go. And hey, when you're done on that tractor with your yard,
Yeah.
my grass here is getting a little high. So
okay, I'll be right there.
Love you, Neal McCoy.
Thank you, Lori. And we love you too.
Love you.
Bye, baby.